Hey guys, welcome to, excuse me, the third match between Gooseheaded and Tenderization. Up right hand corner we got Tenderization, starting as the yellow Terran. Bottom left hand corner we got Gooseheaded, starting as the red Zerg. And I'm gonna kind of think about what Tenderization pulled last match, where he went for an earlier 4th barracks over Engineering Bay, which was a very risky maneuver, and then pile drive the initial 5 Mutalisks out of position, and just had an overwhelming unit production after that, and really caught Gooseheaded off guard. I think if Goose had a couple sunken colonies, it might have been a different story, and it might have been a little bit more painful versus 3 hatchery, like an interior-based 3rd hatch, like a 2.5 hatch play. But against the 2 hatch style, where you're just getting those initial 5 Mutalisks out and you're trying to go for marine control, I think especially at it really taxes the Zerg's game sense. So in that respect, I kind of like the build. It looks like we're going to see an in-base supply depot once again. Overlord making its way bottom right-hand corner. This is cross position, which gives a bit of a macro advantage potentially to, well, it's kind of one of those things where I feel like Zerg, you like being cross position because it takes longer for, it swings in different points of the match, right? With Terran, you can get away, if you have good timing with your turrets, you can get away with a few more SCVs before you have to plant those turrets down. The Mutalisks have to fly a little bit longer. As Zerg, you feel a little bit more comfortable because you can surround from multiple angles. And it takes a really long time for those medic marines to make the... And you got all sorts of doodads in between. This is on Polypoid, by the way. Or is it Neosylphid? We'll never know. Anyway, SCV Scout making its way out. We do see a 12 hatch, or 11 hatch, actually, on the opposite corner from Goosehead. I'm probably going to scout from here. I'll be curious if Gooseheaded, if I'm recalling, it's been a minute since I was able to cast these games. I've been on vacation. And otherwise, if I recall, game 1, Gooseheaded actually opened up with Lurker play. I'll be curious to see if he opts for Lurker play once again. Here, sees the SCV bottom right, which should cause an adjustment on that SCV, but it looks like he is going to continue the scouting path. Is rare for, yeah, if you saw that angle right there, you should have, but this also gives an indication, so Tender knows. It's like, I know where you're at now, and is going to make his way across. Tender going to go for Marine before Command Center this time. And waiting, it looks like, just to confirm that it's a hatchery. So getting the hatchery confirmed, gonna plop it down, which shows he's got some of that adjustment game in there. Drone slowly making its way out to the right. Not gonna be able to get the interruption on the command center this time. Spawning pool dropped. No gas as of yet. So this is a very late gas, which suggests we are in fact going to see, oh, a gas steal even from Tender. And a third in-base 3rd hatchery already from Gooseheaded. And I don't know if this is nerves and a macro adjustment, or this potentially can turn into all-in 3 lings. Is he going to go for the 2nd gas steal? Because that's sometimes an adjustment. He's acting like he's going for... He went for the double gas steal, which potentially forces Goose now into Zergling all-in. Dangerous territory here, and he doesn't have a bunker at... So he spent a lot of resources on this. Zergling's making the way across. That's really going to slow down that gas. Natural expansion gas taken first from Goose. He's got a lot of Zerglings making the way out. However, this could be and this is actually at cross position. I like it. So because it's cross position, he has more time to get the bunker up, but he does need to get that bunker up. If Goosehead is patient with these Zerglings and groups them, could be danger. Okay, we got some SCVs pulling out to the natural expansion. They can help linebacker and do some damage here, potentially. But if the Zerglings just wait and group up a half second, they could easily wipe out these 3 Marines because they're very clustered. We got 4 Marines now. 4 Marines versus 6 Zerglings. With a bit of micro, it's possible. This is starting to look more like Marine advantage, though. So Tender getting full advantage, going for that 3rd barracks again before Academy. Dropping an Engineering Bay this time. Now Gooseheaded moving in on those Marines. And the Marines backing out. Actually, I missed it. Some nice micro there. Excuse me, some nice micro there from Goose, wiping out the Marine lines, and that might be game, actually, depending on how this plays out. So 1 Marine remains. The 3 barracks are spotted. Engineering base spotted. The Zerglings being kind of escorted out. Looks like one of them at least got wiped out. A lot of lost mining time now for Tenderization, so what he might have gained, and also build order reveal. So what he might have gained previously, protected layer, and yeah, I think we're going to see Hydro Sten here. What he might have gained in the gas delay he probably lost there, and a lot of that mining time. You can actually, the worker count looking dangerously close. Now a bunker getting constructed. Zergling speed almost finished. Honestly, if that was at vertical spawns or horizontal spawns, that might have been game over. Tenderization might have had Gooseheaded pulling the trigger and just swarming Zerglings right there. But anyway, Engineering Bay up first. No +1 weapons queued, though. Just now queued. An Academy to follow. So this is looking... Man, I'm having trouble. Sorry. This is looking pseudo 5 racks-ish. But we did have 3 racks to start. So now we got the 4th racks. It'll have to be the last one I cast. Here, still recovering from illness I picked up from we're seeing a lot. Is this going to be a bust, actually? This is starting to look like it might be a Hydralisk bust. The Zerglings camping out and around, getting some initial position. But it looks like it's going to be 4 racks rather than 5. Again, a lot of Marines are going to be filtered in between. It's going to be a minute before Lurker tech's online. It's about halfway complete. The Hydralisk on the high position. Right now, Tender has not gotten any information, though. Just now building the ComSat station. And he's going to be able to ComSat pretty close to when the Lurker's on the forward field. This is where marching a few Marines forward to clear Zerglings out and see just what's going on can be advantageous. He will have 4 barracks. Missing a bit of a macro cycle with them right here because of a supply block. 44 out of 44, very common. Getting the turrets up as well, but no turret up at the natural expansion. We do have a 9 o'clock base for Tendy. Or for Goose, I should say. And the Overlord going to go ahead and back up momentarily. Do we get to see what he saw? Okay, he sees the Hydralisk den. So has to know it's Lurker tech at this stage. The Zergling's going to get pushed back. We already have some Lurker, a lot of Lurkers potentially on the front very, very rapidly. The Zergling's actually trying to draw, very cleverly, from Gooseheaded, drawing the Marines away. And Tender needs to be right on top of these Lurkers. Because he's going to have Lurkers in his natural expansion. It's a lot harder to... it's a lot easier to defend the Lurkers when they're on high ground moving their way in than it is to clear them out. And a couple creep colonies on the front, it could be a game win here for Goose. No turret up as of yet. A second bunker getting dropped. The Lurkers making their way in. One Lurker dies as it plants. But Goose, there's no detection here. He can just move in. Yeah. Drop. 6 o'clock base got checked out here. These Lurkers, taking a lot of damage. Are they going to make it? One of them makes it. A ComSat drop, but the natural expansion has been emptied. That could have gone a lot worse. Another ComSat. More Marines dying. I'm actually shocked that this Lurker still lives. Excuse me. More Lurkers planted on the front. The Zerglings trailing to see how the reinforcements are making the way. If there was 2 Lurkers here, this would have been a disaster. For Tender, it looks like he was able to clear out that Lurker at his natural. And now his army a little bit stranded. Goose actually even on the worker count. Gonna go ahead and drop an evolution chamber behind this to go ahead and get +1 weapons in the mid-game. He's got that 3rd gas available if he wants to go ahead and cap it. Tender once again checking out the 6 o'clock location for some reason and ignoring that 9 o'clock. A couple drones a little bit microed out in the field. Another Lurker making its way up. Never mind, gets wiped out. I'm not sure if I want to credit Tender with some good troop movement there or Gooseheaded with losing a little bit. It's hard for Zerg to keep track of everything sometimes out in the field. Overlord scrambling to not get picked off. One Lurker in position to maybe ruin a lot of this. And we still don't have range. We do have good, well, we'll see if there's no science facility as of yet, so I was going to say decent timing there on the starport, etc., but coming out pretty late at this stage, although we're not seeing Queen's Nest timing per regular, so it's not going to be as important, but it's still important to get that latent detection out there to try to stop some of this play. And Gooseheaded actually in a pretty good situation if he just moves these Lurkers across the south before Tender gets there. He'll be in a good spot right now, and he needs to pull those drones now. So drones, couple drones dying, but that's going to be for Tenderization's 1 army that was out in the field. And he's going to end up losing, a lot of these. So he's got 3 Marines and 2 medics left. Some else bunched up in that natural expansion. Goosehead is actually even on workers and doing Zerg swarm things. Irradiate being researched. First science vessel's a ways away. We have a siege tank being produced, which will help against this, but not protect. And the Queen's Nest dropping, so there is a clock here. Where Goose, if he gets enough lurkers here at the natural expansion, and if he just fields up, honestly what he would be great is if he just backed up a little bit, put the lurkers on the ridgeline, and then fielded forward a couple defilers as they're ready. And that would be game effectively. Maybe planted a couple lurkers down here at hold position just in case. Do we have a dropship or anything? No, no dropship. Just going to be, yeah, so basically Tenderization boxed in, going for Siege Tech on top of this. Yeah, Siege Tank trying to do what damage it can. It needs to be very, very careful. Tenderer moving out. But he's honestly outgunned, depending on Goose's micromanagement here. And Goose is actually even on supply, which is a very scary situation. 6 o'clock base also getting grabbed and under his control. He's in a great spot right here. Hive Tech about 2/3 finished, also attacking on a Spire just to deal with the Science Vessels, should he need to. He can also transition into Plague Lurk if he wants to. But, or Plague Hydra Lurk. Now moving in. Yeah, this is going to be disastrous. Our Tender trying to back up, loses one Siege Shank. He's lucky he didn't lose a second. That was not a lot of Zergling deaths. Okay, now a few additional Zergling deaths to make up for it, but there's still a lot of Lurkers here. Now Goose doing the split line that I was hoping for a little bit earlier. Tender a bit in survival mode, so I think he's just trying to creep up to grab that third, and it's kind of becoming like a Protoss thing where he's just trying to slow things down, sacrificing nice Zergling sacrifice to try to save a couple of Lurkers, also getting some good splash on that second cannon. Goose has a lot of latent army here to the south that he could probably field forward. But right now, yeah, just doing a decent job of kind of doing the opposite of what you usually see at this stage, going for the contain. Defiler Mound just about up, a couple Scourge in the air. And Goose is just about got Adrenal Grant getting another base. His economy is gonna look really scary. 42 workers on this. If he can just get them spread across a lot of these bases, he can go in full-on macro mode shortly. And there's the Defiler queued up. There are some Irradiates to work with here, but this is still a lot of Lurkers. Marines charging forward a little bit ahead of those Siege Tanks, losing a lot of their lives as a result. Able to drop and Irradiate, so this is going to secure a third base for Tender. Loses a Science Vessel for it, though. Nice pick off there from Goose. But let's see, we don't have saturation here at the 6 or at the mineral only as of yet. But this is still, and we got some additional hatcheries that need to get dropped just to get enough larvae to potentially saturate all this. But Goose now on the move in good macro flood situation. A lot of Zerg, these are Adrenal upgrade, keep in mind, at this stage. So they're going to hit a lot harder than usual. And they still have that +1 Carapace versus just the +1 armor, +1 weapons here. So Zergling scooting in, a Lurker loses its life. The Zerglings able to clear out nearly everything, and Tender recognizing it. He just didn't have the, he just lost his army, wasn't going to be able to hold a third, and Goose had too much of the map. So going to call GG right there. So Tender drops, Goose advances. Kind of fun matches overall, though. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for listening.